Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jackie and this is Jackie is Making, a place where I talk all about the knit garments that I'm creating. Today I have for you just a regular podcast episode where I'm going to be walking through 2 of my latest finished objects. Then I'm going to show you 3 of the whips that I currently have on the needles, as well as a couple of acquisitions in there. And then lastly, I'll end just talking a little bit more about some of the things I'll be casting on for our Fall Feels knit along. If you're new here and you haven't heard of the Fall Feels Knit Along, it's actually going to start in 4 days. I can't even believe it. And this is a knit along that's running from September 1st to November 30th. It is a pretty, I would say, relaxed knit along in terms of we're accepting whips. It can be something that you already have on the needles. All we're asking is for you to just please post on Instagram, post the hashtag on that little caption so that we can see it, and then also tag me and also my co-host Rebecca. I'll leave some more details down below for you in case this is too much for you to listen to, but that's all you're going to do. And what we're really looking for is just for you to share in the camaraderie of fall with everyone. To me, fall means so many different things. I made a whole different video about it, but to you, fall might mean something completely different. So even if fall is simply just knitting with wool again, we just want you to share and post so that all of us can follow along and just enjoy the season together. We are going to have 2 different winners for that knit along that are selected at random. So the more that you're posted, the more that you get entered, and so on and so forth. So look forward to that. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for being here. If you like what you see today and would love to support just the overall growth of this channel, I am saving up for a new camera over on my Ko-Fi account. As little as a cup of coffee, you can support me and getting to that new camera. I also have a Ravelry wish list listed down below, so you can just add a pattern to cart if you'd love to, see me make one of the patterns that you purchased yourself. Lastly, the very easiest and free ways to support me are to subscribe to this channel and also to follow me over on Instagram so you can get daily updates of what I'm doing in my knitting life. Before we jump into today's podcast episode, I'm sure you can notice today I am wearing some blue light filtering glasses. For anybody who knows me in my personal life, I always wear blue light glasses when I'm working, and I also tend to wear them a lot when I'm knitting because I'm always watching knitting podcasts or a show when I'm knitting. And so these are blue light glasses by the brand Peepers. I've seen this brand everywhere on social media because they're known as Oprah's favorites. So you know how Oprah makes that yearly favorites list? She almost always features these readers on her list. So Peepers makes readers, blue light glasses, and sunglasses in a variety of different designs. There's so many different ones to pick from. But I like in particular about blue light glasses is they filter the blue light that comes from screens. So you're less likely to get a headache. And then it also just, for me, has way less eye strain. This is the style Duke in the colorway orange. And it's actually on sale right now for $22. So if you're interested, I'll leave my link down below. You can check out this style. Also, every other style, their normal price for all of their glasses is $29. So it's a really affordable brand to shop through. And I hope you guys have some fun looking through that link. Thank you again to Peepers for partnering with me on this segment of the video. Don't you guys just think they look so good with this sweater? I mean, this is gonna be my fall outfit for sure. And so to jump right into it, this gorgeous sweater that I'm making, oh my goodness, it's bringing me an immense amount of joy. I am so excited that I have this finished even before September because every single time the degrees drop down, you're gonna find me wearing this throughout September and October to just get in that perfect fall mood. So This is the California Sweater by Knit California here on Instagram, and she also has a YouTube channel. Her name on Ravelry is Leslie Forrester Howard. And this was a test knit that I completed for Leslie. She's been a YouTuber that I've followed before I even started my channel. She definitely was actually a creator that got me wanting to make my own channel because I just appreciated the way that she kind of sets up and prioritizes her content. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed following her. And so when she said that she was designing a pattern, I immediately was excited, not only to support her, but also because she had mentioned in her podcast that she was making this pattern because she was so inspired by the lento gauge. So for the lento, what's unique is you're using a bigger needle than what's typically asked for the fiber that's being held. So it knits up very, very quickly, but what's really nice about it is because you're holding either a mohair or a surrey, it really fills in all of the gaps and just is a very good transitional sweater. So many people have made that lento sweater. I think because it's a top down in the round raglan and it's open gauge. So it's just, if anybody is looking for like the speediest sweater, at least that I know of, that I've made, I would point them in that direction. So she decided to make one in a similar fashion, but with drop shoulders, which is great because I think drop shoulders are very in style and they're easy and comfy to wear. So yeah, immediately signed up for that test knit, and I'm so happy that I did. So today, just talking about this sweater. First, I'm going to walk you through my thoughts on the yarn that I use. Then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the pattern. Then I'm going to discuss my knitting experience. And then lastly, I'll show you some photos and video and talk about just like my overall experience knitting this sweater. So to begin, the yarn that I used is 4 Crow Fibers, black and white and dyed all over. And this is in the colorway Earth to Sky. And this is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon blend. And in this hank has about 400 yards per 100 grams. And so I held this with the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. And this is in the colorway Dusty Robin. And their mohair is 70% mohair and 30% silk and has 225 meters per 25 grams. So yeah, these are the two that I so beautifully held together to make this gorgeous sweater. And I actually bought this fingering weight yarn about a year ago. It was during a shop pop for Madison, and this is a local dyer to me, and I just knew I wanted to purchase some gorgeous yarn from her. So this is what I picked out, and what really drew me to it were those like black and white stripes that go throughout the whole thing. I just felt like it looked so unique. So once I was accepted to the test knit, I ran to my local yarn store, the Sow's Ear, and I found this mohair, and I just felt like this was the most perfect color to blend into this. And it kind of mutes it down a little bit. So I had a group chat with my friends where I was sending them some different colors, and I was just looking for some help for what could pair best with this. And I almost picked something that was more of a true orange, like almost like my glasses. And I think it would have just been too fire engine-y, you know, just too, what's it called? A cone. You know, like the orange cones. I would have looked like that versus I think this is so wearable. I don't feel like I'm wearing a super loud color. I just feel very autumnal. So yeah, my overall thoughts and feelings on the yarn. I loved this fingering weight yarn. The only thing I will say is my skeins varied quite a bit in between each other, and I feel like I didn't really realize it until it was a little bit too late. And the realization was that a couple of my hanks had way more blues and teals than the other ones did. And I actually feel like my first, maybe, I think it was my first two. Yeah, my first two barely had any of those teals in it, if at all. And the issue was I had wound them up for a different pattern idea. So when I decided to start knitting, I couldn't see all of the colors because it was wound up. And so like from a wound up perspective next to these, I was like I didn't remember that there was any discrepancies between them. So yeah, that was the only thing that just left me with a little bit of disappointment. Was I was trying so hard to make the colors work. So I alternated skeins throughout the body and also throughout the sleeves. But what you'll notice if you look at photos of this sweater is my sleeves are just a little bit more colorful than the body is. I will say, like, when I look in the mirror or when I'm wearing this, I do not notice it at all. I'm very pleased with the overall colors, but if I was somebody picking out yarn, that's just something that I would want to remember and be mindful of, is just obviously picking skeins from the same dye lot, trying your best if you want a cohesive garment. And, it's always just the lesson, like, how little control you have over a variegated skein garment. It's so minimal. And so I think in the future, I will lean a little bit further towards just more like solid colors for my actual garments, and try to use my variegated colors for more accessories and other like smaller things where I can really just kind of control the color a little bit more. I say that, and I'll probably be making more variegated ones very soon. It's just so tempting, and they're just so beautiful. But it's frustrating that you can't fully manipulate it, So yeah, that's my only thing. I will say though, it makes it so fun to knit with because you're just seeing color changes throughout the whole thing. And I have so lovingly been calling this my like crushed leaves sweater, because you can just see all of the colors in that black and white stripe. It just looks so crushed and beautiful. And then the Knitting for Olive mohair. This was my first time using Knitting for Olive mohair, and I was very, very pleased. I feel like it's so soft. I am just wearing an undergarment right now, and I cannot, well, it's not to say that I can't feel, but I'm very comfortable in this garment. It's not itchy at all. It feels great against my neck. And so yeah, very, very pleased with the yarn. And so much so I picked out more Knitting for Olive for my future. You'll see that coming up soon, but it's definitely, with the price point and with the quality and the colors they have, I think it's definitely going to be a staple yarn that I'm going to continue to use for quite a while. As far as the overall pattern goes, I was so impressed that this was Leslie's first garment. I felt like she really did the due diligence with just the grading and everything. The layout of the pattern had so many different resources, like so many different video resources. It was also very just like colorful and engaging. It felt very Knit California to me. Just like from a branding perspective, I work my day job in marketing, so these are the things that I care about, but it felt like I was jumping into Leslie's world, and it had so many different pictures and tips and tricks. And just felt like a pattern that I was excited to open and read and look at whenever I needed to look at it. So I really, really appreciated that. I never felt like confused throughout the pattern. Trying to think if there's anything else in particular. For me, the version that I knit, there wasn't any like big changes that I had with Leslie. The only thing is there were some people in the Discord and Discord is like a messaging app we used during the test. And there were some people that had just like an error of their sleeves being a little too long. So Leslie actually went back through and she completely redid how the sleeve decreases are written. So actually, if you're looking at my garment, my sleeves may end up being a little different than what yours end up being because she did change it to be fixed for all sizes. So that's the only difference between like mine and yours if you were to make this. But yeah, overall, wonderful experience with the pattern. The only thing that I ended up doing twice was just the collar, and that's because I kind of made it a little too short and bound it off a little too tight the first time, and ended up just doing it a different way the second time that helped me, and it was a way that Leslie recommends in the pattern. And then lastly, just my overall knitting experience. If you aren't used to using a big needle, it can be a little bit, I was gonna say jarring. It's not jarring, it's just, it feels quite different in your hands. I feel like so often in knitting, we're using those like middle range needles, or, you know, if you're a sock knitter, you're using the way low end or kind of that middle range. Especially, you know, like coming out of summer, I hadn't used any big needles in a while. So it felt kind of weird to all of a sudden be using a US 10 needle. I did feel like this is with any pattern, alternating skeins, you just jump in and out of that rhythm, so it's not as easy to continue working. But it's such a quick knit. Those sleeves for sure, you can do like one sleeve each night and you're done. It's very, very quick. My overall thoughts is definitely very positive experience with this pattern. I can definitely see myself making it again. I am very proud of myself for wearing it right now for you guys because I actually have a heat advisory where I live right now. Thank God for air conditioning, but I can definitely feel myself heating up. It's keeping me warm, which makes me very, very excited to wear it this fall and kind of cozy up into it. And I just, yeah, I love this gauge, and, you know, a fingering weight plus a mohair is just dreamy. The best part is like when I was finished, you could already tell it had so much drape before I even blocked it. So I just knew it was gonna be good. The blocking went super, super easy, by the way. It did take maybe about at least a day and a half, if not 2 days, to dry. I ended up not doing a spin cycle just to be on the ultra safe side. But yeah, I didn't really have any issues with stretching. I think it probably grew about 1.5 to 2 inches all over, which is what I expected with a superwash and with my gauge swatch. And I was actually happy and pleased with that amount of growth. I kind of needed it in the body and it ended up being perfect. So yeah, I'm really excited to wear this, if you can't tell. I think that you guys are gonna see me wearing it all the time this fall, especially during the Fall Feels Knit Along. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on it down below. And if you plan on making it, I hope that you do to support Leslie. I'm so excited to see all of the colors that you guys make. Everybody in the testers group, that is one of the most fun knitting experiences that I've had, is being a part of a testing group and seeing all the fun colors, just seeing what people make, and like how we help each other. It was really, really enjoyable. So yeah, I highly recommend this pattern and doing a test knit through Knit California if she ever has another one, which I already know she has one in the future coming up for a tank top that she designed. So stay tuned for that. Okay, next I have for you guys my finished socks. So here we have both socks. And these are Hermione's Everyday Socks. And I knit these in the Retrosaria Mondim yarn. And their colorways are just numbers, so I'll have the number up on the screen. But I love this yarn. So yeah, first just to talk about the yarn, I absolutely already cannot wait to purchase this yarn again. It's very woolly. It is a 100% wool, so there's no nylon in it. So I'll have to report back if that goes okay for me. Typically sock yarns are reinforced with the nylon so that they just have like a little bit more longevity within them. But this one does not. It feels just so, so nice on the feet, feels so woolly, and I cannot wait to knit with that yarn again. I already know I'll probably purchase it in like a solid color next time, and I would be interested in using this yarn for a garment in the future. That's how much I liked it. Just super, super comfy, springy, and easy to work with on the hands. And then as far as it knit up, it kind of knit up a little bit crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I've been like lovingly calling these like my Punk Princess Avril Lavigne socks because they're just kind of crazy, you know? They're kind of crazy. And what's funny is like I don't plan on making these crazy things, and then all of a sudden I look down and I'm like, these are kind of crazy. I'm not sure how that happened to me. I picked out a pretty yarn and then it's striped all crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I think what makes this like more crazy looking is the way that it pools, and then, you know, it like striped on the heel, and then it kind of pooled a lot on this one here. So you can see had like a big pink chunk here. This pattern is a free pattern. I totally recommend it. It was so easy to follow. I feel like it fits my feet so well. I loved you're kind of doing in an almost like check pattern, just purling like every 3 stitches. And then you have like a break of a stockinette row and so on. But I love, it's almost, you know, the way that a rib feels like it's hugging your foot. I feel like with all those purl stitches, it just gives it some texture and feels like it's really hugging my foot, which I really, really love. So yeah, if I were to make this again, this sort of pattern, I would make it in a solid color is the only thing, just because of the unpredictability. But yeah, I'm excited to wear these with Birkenstocks and clogs in the fall, and even though they're crazy, still show them off a little bit. So yeah, those are my Hermione's everyday socks, and I am getting warm, so I can do this. So what a fun week, finishing 2 different objects. I felt so, so accomplished. And once those were off the needles, I was kind of thinking about, okay, what am I going to focus on this week? Because I promised you guys I wouldn't cast on like my new socks until Fall Feels Knit Along. But I already had my husband's sweater, Zipper Sweater Light by PetiteKnit on the needles. And so I've just kind of been like trucking away a little bit at that. So here is what I have so far. And how you begin this pattern is you're making like a ribbed panel, and this is going to end up being the collar of the sweater. And this takes so long. Oh my goodness gracious. So I have actually been working on something else as well. And it's because I kind of was like, oh, I'm just gonna like, this is gonna be my only whip. I'm gonna focus on this week, get like super far. No, this 1x1 rib is taking me so long. I think I'm maybe just at halfway. You go a certain length and then you fold it over and then you knit it together, which is why I have this other needle like hanging down here. But yeah, it's just taking me so long. The one positive is I am using this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. This is a 100% romeldale sheep yarn from Harvest Hill Acres. It's a 100% wool that comes just from one sheep. Her name is Brooklyn, which is super cute and special. And I've really enjoyed just the feeling and the bounciness of this yarn. I can already tell it's gonna feel really good against the skin. I've been like holding it up to my neck too, and it feels really, really good. So yeah, this one I'm like, okay, we're gonna do a couple rows of ribbing, and then I set it down and I work on something else, and I'm really excited to get into the body of this because I feel like it's going to go really quickly once I get there. It's just getting through this huge amount of ribbing. And so this ribbing is done on a smaller needle. I'm trying to think of what needle this one is. This is a 3mm needle, a US 2.5, and this is a DK weight yarn. So it feels like it's taking forever. I know it's not, but I was like sitting next to my husband yesterday and I was like, just so you know, you're the literal only person I would do this for, because that's how long it felt like it was taking. So yeah, about halfway done on that. So hopefully by next week's podcast episode, I'll be done with this and I'll be flying through the next parts. All right, next I have a brand new cast on to show you guys. Oh, it looks beautiful. I was hoping that it would show up well. And this is gonna be the Cardi Cocoon by Anne Ventzel. And you can see I have my really, really cute stitch marker on here. This is from Amy Sure Makes. It's like a little cat with a crocheted blanket. I love it so, so much. But the yarn that I'm using, I've talked about a couple of times. One is this super, super gorgeous, soft, 100% alpaca yarn that I got at Alpaca Fest. And this is Shady Havens Fiber Designs Prime Alpaca, and this is just a natural colorway. So what I am doing is I am just holding this natural colorway with 2 skeins of Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Powder. So they look so good. This I would say is just a little bit creamier, and these have a little bit more of a neutral to pink side to them. So I feel like together it's actually a really, really nice combination because it's adding some stitch definition to the little cables. So I feel like that almost whitish core that's in that mohair is just giving like really accentuating the cables, and it's really, really beautiful. I've been calling this my vanilla latte cardigan. So that is like the exact color to me is a vanilla latte. Love it. This pattern was actually recommended to me by a viewer, so thank you so, so much for recommending it to me to use with this alpaca yarn. And I think that it's gonna have a lot of structure and like kind of beautiful drape to it with just the way that the pattern is set up. And then with those little cables and the 2 strands of mohair, I think it's gonna give the alpaca just a little bit more structure. So I'm really excited about this pairing. And yeah, I think it's gonna look so, so good. So I've just gotten started on that. It already feels like a very potato chippy pattern in that you have like 3 rows of stockinette before you get to the next cable row. And then your cables, you're doing like different, like every other direction, like a different direction each time. And I'm not using a cable needle. I'm just doing, Anne Ventzel has this like amazing video on YouTube where she shows you kind of just like how to flip the stitches around for each one. And so yeah, because you have those 3 rows of stockinette, you're just like, oh, I'll just make it to the next one. And then you finish a cable row and you're like, okay, well now I have to do the stockinette because that's the easy part, and set myself up for the next row of cables. So I've really been enjoying that so far, and I think I have enough yarn to make this into a long cardigan, and I'm really excited that not only is this my first cardigan, but it's going to be my first like kind of long piece as well. So I'm just really, really excited about that. I will say I tried to make it work actually just by holding 1 strand of the sport weight with 1 strand of mohair. I swatched for it and it was just a little bit like it wasn't filling in the gaps enough. So I could see why she recommends to have the 2 strands of mohair. I felt like it really fills in the gaps more and makes those cables look just a little bit more plump. So I opted to do that. I do think in retrospect, I maybe would have used a wool just because I would have wanted it to plump up even more. I think there's a reason why wool is known to be used for cables. But, you know, I'm just a baby knitter. I gotta live and learn. So we'll see how it all works out. I do think it's working up beautifully now, though. So yeah, so that's that. So yeah, I actually swatched first time with the recommended needles, then I swatched another time a size down, then I ended up adding in a third strand of yarn. So the whole time I was still like just very much enjoying it though, which makes me feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this pattern. I will say the overall fabric feels more mohair-y to me than it does the alpaca. So I'm a little afraid I'm gonna lose so much of that squishy alpaca-ness because there is now 2 strands of mohair. But it's so hard to know at such a small gauge and like unblocked as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm not really gonna know if I'm truly happy with the fabric it's making until I get to a bigger gauge and I can like really see it. Is it squishing, you know? So yeah, just kind of waiting and seeing on that. And then I told you guys I have 3 things on the needles. Can you believe it? And the next one is a Musselburgh hat, actually. And I cannot remember for the life of me if I ever told you guys about this. I think I did actually. I mentioned it when I went to Mexico in February. And in that month, I was just like, I didn't really have like an easy project to bring with me. So I was like, oh, I'll just cast on another Musselburgh because I had remembered that I love knitting them so much. It's just like the best needle size, the best in the round knitting that I found so far. If you're ever looking for a therapeutic knit, you're going through something, cast on a Musselburgh. That is my recommended dose. That is my doctor's note for you. But so yeah, so this is what I have so far. And this is in the colorway Emily Gilmore. And this is from Sewrellas Gilmore Girls collection that came out last year. And I love Gilmore Girls, as you'll hear about in a second. So, of course, I had to get this. I think Emily's my favorite character. She's the grandma. And I just think she's so funny and such a good actress. So yeah, so this is that. I like it. I'm not like obsessed with the colors or how it's striping. I'll show it to you guys a little bit better up close. But, I mean, it's okay. But what I am thinking when I rediscovered this, this is why actually it's kind of nice to not frog your knits right away, because maybe they'll be your treasure a little bit later on. And that has happened to me with this because, as you guys may have seen, I have this gorgeous, gorgeous Evergreen Fiberworks color. This is the Brandy Old Fashioned Hemlock sock yarn. It's an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, fingering weight yarn. And my plan for the knit along has been to make this into a Musselburgh hat. So what I was thinking actually is, how cool would it be to make this into a two-toned hat? So like, I already have this. I already have one halfway done. And these are like, this is so, October spooky anyways. And then I'm kind of getting 2 hats in one, and I've always wanted to make a 2-sided one. So I saw this and I was like, wait, what if I did that? So I'm kind of thinking, I'm thinking that I don't really want it to be a brimmed hat, just because I already have a different Musselburgh that's brimmed, and I have an Oslo hat that's brimmed. And I'm really looking for just like something easy, like when it starts getting cold and you don't really, really need a hat, but you kind of want one for the outfit, or you need one, but it's not super, super cold. Like maybe you're going to a bonfire and you don't need a super warm hat. So I think what I'm going to do is just do half and half, this and this, without the brim colors. And I say that specification because if you're doing the brim colors, then you need to do like 3-inch sections of the colors, vice versa. I'll show you guys a picture of how people do it so that if you want like the brim color to match the body color. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking I don't want brimmed for these. I think I want this to be a true late September, October hat where it's just going to be not folded up, super casual, going to coffee shops, like super, super cute, depending on what mood I'm in. This or this, you know? Just imagine me wearing this, this sweater, these glasses, and this. Guys, wait. And these socks. Are you kidding me? Please just acknowledge this. Oh my goodness. Oh, so cool. So anyways, that is the Musselburgh Hat. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll get myself to a point where I can cast on or include, maybe get to that color around that September 1st mark. And then of course I'll be casting on these socks for the Fall Feels Knit Along. This is Evergreen Fiberworks in the color Equinox Bonfire. And yeah, I think I actually decided, I have like cat hair on these. I think I actually decided that I am going to be making these into a vanilla sock. And the reason for that is just because I really, really want those colors to shine. And I was thinking about doing maybe some like lace work or, you know, I don't know. I didn't really decide, or maybe some cables. But I'm thinking like a true like vanilla sock with the accents being that orange is just going to be perfect, where it really is going to let those gorgeous Evergreen Fiberworks colors shine. So that is my plan for that. So yeah, that's kind of my Fall Feels plan, is September 1st, maybe incorporate that Brandy Old Fashioned yarn into my Musselburgh. I'm going to be casting on those socks, and then I also have some more yarn coming for a stripe pipe sweater. So I'm gonna be casting that on as well. But yeah, I'm just like totally getting into all of the woolly things, if you can't tell, and it's bringing me so much joy. I have already been having like so much fun with knitting again. I can just feel myself wanting to knit more. There was so many times during the summer where I was doing these podcasts like every other week, and then I was doing more like themed videos on the off weeks, and I definitely was knitting less. Like there would be nights where I'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna knit tonight, or only gonna knit a couple rows. And now I'm like, I gotta knit every night. I'm so pumped for the things that I'm making. So that's really exciting. I also, in Wisconsin, we have Wisconsin Sheep and Wool coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. So I'm already like planning some yarn purchases for that. So just for excitement purposes, I'll keep you guys in the dark for that. But hopefully I'll bring my camera and kind of show you guys around a little bit and show you some of my ideas and thoughts between what I pick out at that festival. If any of you guys are planning to go, please plan to come up and say hi to me. I would love to meet you in person and expand my community like in person in my head instead of always just talking to a screen. Okay, and then lastly, I just wanted to recommend a podcast. Oh, and then I was gonna ask you if you have any favorite things to watch during fall. I have told myself that I am allowed to restart Gilmore Girls on September 1st, so I'm so excited to restart that. That's kind of why I made that little wink during I talk about the Emily Gilmore yarn. Yeah, this will be my third time rewatching, and it just is such a cozy show to me. So if anybody wants to rewatch that with me, I'm starting on September 1st. I also have been watching a couple episodes of Outlander because I've heard the knits are incredible. And I'm at the point now, I'm on episode 3, where do I keep going or do I read the books first? I need you guys to let me know. I'm open to either one of them. I just need to know, should I be reading the books first? Let me know. And then lastly, I listened to this podcast. I literally finished it in like a day and a half. It's called Hysterical. It really makes you think. I will say, trigger warning, it's a little bit, can maybe induce some anxiety. Just because it's talking, maybe if you have like any sort of health anxiety at all, I wouldn't listen to it. But it's really well told. It's produced by Wonderland, I think. It's just really well done, and it's kind of crazy. And just, it's a little bit thriller-y, spooky-y in just a slightest way. True stories. Yeah, I don't want to give it away. So just know, if you are sitting there and you don't really have anything to watch here on YouTube, or you can't decide, or maybe you're in a car and just want to listen, totally recommend that. I had a lot of fun knitting while I was listening to that. So if you guys also have any like favorite books or anything you listened to lately, let me know down below. I clearly make these videos because I love watching knitting YouTube videos, but I also just like love getting to enjoy media while I'm making. It's one of the best parts about knitting. So let me know down below what you guys are listening to. Okay, well, I think that that's all that I have for you guys today. I hope that you've been enjoying your making and you're enjoying these last couple of warm days before we start to enter into fall. If any of you guys have any questions about the Fall Feels Knit Along, please feel free to either head over to my Instagram. You can message me on there. You can also email me through my email down below, or through Ravelry. Any of those options. I'm always happy to answer any questions, or just chat with you guys as well. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss a video from me. And other than that, I will see you guys next week with another podcast episode. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.